so hard.
You had to drop out?
American Lit 2. Second semester, I was going to take it, and I literally was like, I can't do it.
You got an A.
I know, but it was the hardest A I've ever worked for.
Well, that's the whole point.
I was not. Well, I'm done with English forever now.
Okay. You make me feel like crap, but don't worry. I'm going to go ahead and weep a little bit just thinking about that. Realizing that I failed as a teacher.
You did not.
June was out there.
I mean, if anything, your class taught me that I needed to read the books. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
So,
that's one thing your class taught me.
think about one thing though. Ask him which books to read, because the ones that my experience in school was a lot of the ones that were assigned were terrible.
Oh, yeah.
They were very hard to read, but things like Flowers for Algebra. Have you read that? That will blow your mind. Pardon my French.
No,
Seriously, it's not a long book, but you'll
Is
just
that
go.
one where the guy is
wow.
mentally disabled and then he gets smart and then he goes mentally disabled?
Yes, yeah, he goes through a treatment.
Isn't that a movie?
It probably
And
was.
they've done things that were kind of based on that premise. The book is amazing,
That's crazy.
seriously. And that was one of the things that turned me on. So maybe that would be
There was
one.
one
would
book
like
I read in
things-
class about the guy in the desert.
What the what?
The guy in the desert, and he had to
What?
like chop his foot off or something. I forget. That was the one book I actually liked.
Which one was that? I don't
I
remember.
literally cannot tell you. But that was, like, I read all of the books, but like that was the only one I read.
Did you take American? You took American like one.
Yeah. That
So-
was such a fun class though.
So Scarlet Letter.
Scarlet Letter sucked.
I love Scarlet
I
Letter.
hated reading that.
See, I haven't read that.
Like,
Though
even
you
the
were to
movie
step
was-
down though you were to step down from a high place and stand there beside thee on the pedestal, shame yet better were it so than to hide a guilty heart through life. What can thy silence do for an Esther?
What was
Yeah,
that? What was
see,
that?
that's my problem with literature classes in general. It's all poetry.
It's
It takes
all
an hour to
poetry.
figure out what the.
But God is faithful. He's begging this woman to tell on him. He's
Right,
a priest and he made
so
a pregnant.
do
He's
it-
going to tell on
Do it
me
in
or I'm
prose
going
we
to
can all
hell.
understand.
Huh?
Do it in prose we can all understand.
Well,
I understand that some people love Shakespeare and they love that type of prose.
and once you get used to it, you do like it. But you're right at first. And everybody has their own thing, you know.
Sure.
All right.
Sorry, yeah.
You guys have a great night.
See you, Jerome. Have a good summer.
You know.
All right, so yeah, let's get to that. I think that was good.
Whoops, there it was. Jesus. The rest of these are gonna be perfect. The rest of them are perfect.
On that is that if you have one book that introduces someone to prose like that's enough for them to know what they're interested in going on with.
Right.
And that was my problem with it. He was well over half the class who was in English or Edwardian.
There are teachers who ruin good literature before kids are ready for it.
Especially the early classes.
Yeah.
Holy smokes! It's like, you know, they used to have an introduction to computer concepts, an introduction to data processing concepts. It was known as the weed out class. Because if you didn't get it, or you didn't understand it, or you didn't like it after that class, you were done.
Yeah.
But that is the problem.
Yeah.
If you don't teach people things that they can relate to, that they have some kind of simile to, that they can understand and get.
My class, no one is supposed to take it until they first already have 3 literature classes. So this is not for beginning literature students. This is for students who have 3 literature classes. They know this is upper level, college bound.
Okay?
And as such, that's different.
Okay, well, then, yeah. I guess I really hadn't the honor class in particular, because I don't know it. But that's good. That sounds like the right way to.
Right, you're right. There's teachers who ruin reading for kids because they give it the old,
Right,
analyze it to death treatment.
Right.
Before the kids have appreciated just the story, the drama. Give them the story of the drama first, you know?
Yes, and then I was saying, why did Romeo kiss Juliet? Stop. Just let them enjoy the damn story.
Right. No,
I don't want to analyze someone's motives for everything. I don't care that much.
Right.
You know, and that's part of the thing.
There's an essay that I read with my students, actually, and I encourage all of it. Sorry, that's very good. How English teachers make kids hate reading. And it's written by an English teacher.
Is an essay the same thing as an essay?
What?
I don't know the difference between an essay and an essay.
I never said essay.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure I misheard you, but I didn't know.
I wanted to pronounce it.
So
The name of this
Thank
essay
you.
is entitled How English Teachers Make Students Hate Reading.
Right.
Written by an English teacher, and he talks about how we all do these things where sometimes get off the analysis and let the kid enjoy the story. In fact, let's make sure they enjoy the story before we try to do anything else. And I think every English teacher should do that. There's no way you should be teaching Romeo and Juliet until that kid is a good enough reader that he enjoys just the story. Let's read the story about this guy who falls in love with a girl that his family hates. How many people know someone whose father hates the girl he's dating? This is what's happening in this story. And then let's read it and see what happens. And we don't have to say soft, light blue, yonder window breaks, quiet.
You know, so I might even, and this is my ignorant opinion, so keep that in mind, but I might even say, have them read an Americanized version of that first, so that they completely understand the story, and then go back and read the Oregon prose version.
Yep,
And then so they know, oh yeah, he said that here, but that's what they said here. No, that's what they did. So they have some frame of reference.
No, you're right.
I don't know really if I'm right or not, but it feels right. Those are almost often wrong. You know, which fine, things that are easy, right, or almost always wrong.
But I will say this at the same time. I'll say this at the same time. Then there comes, I totally agree with your point. Teachers ruin reading for kids when at too low a level, they try to give them the let's analyze it to death level.
The concepts.
But now, you got an A student, he's going to college next year. Then you say, this is the stuff you're going to see in college. Let's start looking at some of the things happening. What kind of cool, listen to the poetry and I get some kids, I read a poem, it's called The Far Field by Theodore Retke. Retke struggled with mental health issues his whole life, but those guys sometimes get in their own little bubble, and he's thinking about life or death. And he writes this poem about the moment in which he learned not to fear death anymore. The moment in which he thinks, oh, the whisper of the eternal in the wind. I don't have a poem here in front of me.
Sure.
Brilliant. You can read in these words the moment when he comes to a sense of peace with the world around him. And you gotta read that hard stuff to get some of that stuff. But you don't do that to a freshman kid coming in. You do that to the kid who's already shown a certain, tendency to like English.
I also feel like, from my side of it, people that recite or read aloud Shakespeare, they do it much too conversationally. In that, if you slow way down and being almost exaggerating the slowness of it, to where the words are very clear in between, I get it better. And maybe that's just maybe it's a learning disability. But I think American kids in general, and me specifically, are brought up to hear and learn language in specific